All right, guys, back here on Southeastern 14 with Max Barr. We continue a look at all of these new roster additions for many teams in the SEC. Every team in the SEC is adding somebody
Yeah.
this offseason. Maybe not many more so than Arkansas, with John Calipari bringing a new look roster to Fayetteville. And as we've talked about, we're going through all the transfers, but we're also talking about just roster additions with freshmen as well and how they're going to impact the upcoming season, which does lead us to Billy Richmond, who joins the mix in this freshman group that Cal is bringing in. Before we tell you about our thoughts on Billy Richmond, let's tell you about Bet Online, your number one source for the NBA and NHL playoffs this season. Every stat, matchup, live odds when games are being played. Plus, when the game's over, head on over to the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of their over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get on the action. You can also use that promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, the game starts here. Billy Richmond was a top 25 player in this class, and we've already talked about Karter, Knox. And now, again, Max, we look at someone here who comes in with a lot of high expectations.
Yep.
And, what I appreciate most about him, he's a lefty, and that's nice. So, means he's going to have a smooth game. I mean, come on. How many lefties have we seen that just do not have a smooth game, right? How many
It's a
lefties can we
requirement.
name? Yeah, like you got to be smooth to be a lefty. And so he comes in, and I think that's going to be, again, someone who adds certainly depth when you look at what he's going to be able to do, kind of the position he plays as a wing. And I'm curious to see, as we've said before, as we're starting to see this roster fill out, how Cal uses some of these guys, like different rotations, different lineups, and all that. Billy Richmond feels like one of those guys that you can sort of plug in with the guys that are surrounding him and feel like you've got to, you can use him and feel pretty good about kind of the roster combination you have with him sort of playing an interesting role here.
Billy the Kid. I'm calling him the Outlaw. The Outlaw.
The
Billy the
outlaw.
Kid.
Wow.
Here we go. Let's rewind all the way to early October, okay, when Billy's recruitment was really coming down to his final decisions. Joe Tipton tweets out on October 11th, okay, so I don't know, about half a year ago, down to 4 schools. It was between Kentucky with Calipari, of course, Alabama, Memphis, and LSU. That was his final 4. Obviously, chooses Kentucky first, and then follows coach to Fayetteville here. So if you want to kind of, I've been with these transfer videos we've been doing, I've been, saying, well, this guy wanted him and this team wanted him. Half this conference wanted him. Hey, you look at Billy Richmond out of high school, Alabama, Kentucky, some high quality schools there wanted Billy the Kid.
Yeah, and he is he's another one of those guys. I think I don't know. I mean, just watching, I feel like he's a pretty aggressive type player. Like when you watch
Yeah,
some of the highlights and the way he plays, like he feels like someone who is going to be like attack mode, like that. That's kind of the way it seems when
downhill.
you when you watch his highlights and you watch some of his game stuff. Like he's someone who's not afraid to sort of go in and try to make something happen. And I think you always need a guy like that, especially. We always talk about like who are the guys you're turning to and shot clock situations and all of that. Like I feel like he'll be one of the maybe top options if you get, again, based on the roster combinations that are out there. We talked about Davis and such, but I think he's an interesting one because like you said, he's someone downhill type player, and I feel like you may see some of those kind of highlight reel plays from Billy Richmond. Like, wouldn't be surprised if we get one of those every game where this guy's just kind of going after somebody. Defender finds himself in the wrong spot, and all of a sudden he's looking up, and who is above him? None other than Billy the Kid, the outlaw, Billy Richmond.
Yeah. When we do these videos, like as we go, each minute goes by, I get more and more excited about the newcomer here. So
give me an exhibition game right now, Billy Richmond. Let's see him. Come on.
So played his final 2 years of high school ball in New Jersey as a senior. So he averaged 17.6 points, but he averaged 7.4 rebounds as well. He had 7 double-doubles. He had 46 blocked shots that senior year and 44 steals. Okay, and then you go to the Nike EYBL circuit 2023, 17.2 points, 5.6 rebounds. I'm not really talking about the points all that much, more so the rebounds, the steals, this and that. You look at his 247 like breakdown from Adam Finkelstein. The jump shot will need some development, but he can quickly turn his defense into offense with anticipation and aggression, getting steals in the passing lanes. I'm not going to go as far as to say he's a Duthiero 3 inches shorter, but from the scouting reports, from the highlights I've watched, doesn't have the best 3-point numbers from high school, but he seems like that 6'5", 200 pounds built freshman who can almost kind of guard the 4 also, a physical guy, a defense, an energizer, spark plug, whatever kind of thing you want to categorize him as. I'm kind of thinking a Duthiero in the back of my mind, maybe just a little bit shorter, with kind of just like the physicality and the things that they add with like the stuff that doesn't show on the stat sheet.
Yeah, I think it again. You don't expect him to come in and he's shooting 38% from 3,
Right.
or anything. That's not his game right now. But I think he'll be more of the, you know, his potential to drive the ball to the basket will be what opens up shots for the other guys, and or handoffs to Adu or Big Z or whatever, and
Right.
that kind of stuff. Like that's how I envision him playing in this roster. And like you said, he's also going to be someone who turns some defense into some offense,
Right.
and because of the quickness and that kind of stuff, it'll be, he gets a steal, he's gone. Like he's out in the open, and other guys are running with him and they're trying to get an easy dunk or layup or whatever. So yeah, I think that's probably the expectation. As we've talked about too, and I think to this point, I want to say, Max, this is pretty surprising. I think we're caught up on Arkansas for now. In terms of like actually doing a video on every guy that's joined. So if you're an Arkansas fan, you haven't seen the videos we've done, somehow we've caught up at this point. And we've had a little time, but I'm pretty sure.
We'd see the day.
Me either. We've still got to catch up on most other teams, I would say, which we'll have to get creative to do that probably. But I think now that we've done this, and of course I say that, what's going to happen. Somebody else is going to commit before this video even goes up. But
yep.
You are starting to see, okay, you could see this guy starting, you could see that guy starting. We have a pretty good idea. Jonas Adu is going to start. If John L. Davis comes back, he's going to start. Boogie Fland is, as of right now, pretty much the only option at point guard.
Right.
We've talked about Thiero. I think there's no way he doesn't start. I think he's
got to be
slotted in there. So then it becomes that interesting dynamic, like we said, of how you pair that with a Knox, with a Richmond, and guys like that. So, like this roster gets more intriguing now, and we know they're not finished. Like we know there's going to be more additions, but I think Billy Richmond is someone who, when we do break down every other player on the roster, you see some of those differences that's going to separate him versus what the strengths are of some of the other guys on the roster. And so you definitely have seen that mesh of different sort of styles that Cal's put together here.
Yeah. One last note that I kind of, idea that I kind of want to end on is the switchability on defense now. If you do have Billy playing that 2 or 3, because now you have a Duthiero who he can, if you don't think he can switch multiple positions defensively, watch some Adu highlights. He can do it.
Put him anywhere. Yeah.
He can do it. And then you have John L. Davis, who just played out of position for the past 2 years at FAU. If you don't think he can guard some guys bigger than him, he's been doing it for 2 years in a row. So say you slide Billy in there at the 3, and you got John L. Davis, Billy Richmond, Adu Thiero kind of sandwiched in between whoever it is at point guard and whoever's on the floor at center at that time. You got 3 guys who are all really athletic on the perimeter. You can really turn some defense into offense, some alley-oops. I kind of like the different, offense for defense pairings that Cal can work with here with only, what do we got? 7 guys, and he already has some options. I like it.
Just remember, all you defenders out there, when you look up in the sky, it's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's the outlaw, Billy Richmond, coming in to punish the rim. That I think you will see quite a bit this season for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Give it to him this season in Fayetteville. But there you go. There's some thoughts on Billy Richmond joining the Hogs. And as we said, we are caught up as of now on the Arkansas roster. If you want to go back, you can search for any of the players on this roster, and you can see all of our thoughts on everyone that has joined the Arkansas roster at this point. Of course, we're touching on every other roster in the SEC. You can find those by hitting the subscribe button. Lots of Arkansas baseball stuff with the tournament coming up. Football stuff as well, so check it all out if you're an Arkansas fan or if you're a fan in general. Hit subscribe, hit like on your way out. We appreciate you guys watching. Check out our friends at Bet Online, and we will talk to you again here soon at Southeastern.